Hello. I don't know if this is working well. It's always not a great way to start the stream, but there was something up with the settings. It said privacy was unlisted by default, so I'm not sure what exactly is going on YouTube, but I'm here, and I just want to talk a little bit about Japanese guitars. It's fascinating to go so long without playing them. Well, not playing them, but not getting any of the new ones and demoing so much stuff that is available here that isn't available. Uh, Switching from one to the others, it's a bit of a kind of reminder to me about a few things. And then there were some other guitars that people were talking about that got released. Some comments I want to address here because I you can't help but laugh at some of them. And yeah, I don't have too much planned. I'm just gonna level with you guys, so we're gonna either roll with the punches, and we'll see what goes on. We'll see if this thing is actually showing up on other people's feeds because normally there's a bunch of people already in here today. There's Greg. So I hope you're doing good, man. Yes, something is seriously wrong with my app. But anyway, I don't know. So I got in the Jaguar, the blue one that I made a video about, and that was the first time I had imported something in almost, well, not a year, but about 8 months or so, right? And I'm playing it, and I've demoed so many American and Mexican and some Indonesian guitars in the meantime. Even Korean guitars. Actually, I have a lot of positive things to say about the Korean guitars. The Reverends and the D'Angelicos. I think those are freaking great. But it's interesting to go back and to play somewhat recent Japanese model compared to a lot of what we have. It's, I don't know. They're always going to be like my first love, I think, which makes sense because my first real guitar was a Japanese Fender. But it's wild to me, the value proposition of some stuff. And I went back and I was looking at some of the shops and some of the current pricing because I want to know what the new pricing is too, right? In Japan, it's more affordable to get a custom color, very nice offset guitar than it is to get a PRS SE. And I found that to be just like hilarious. Because I don't think Fender Japan is like the pinnacle when it comes to Japanese guitars at all. They're really good. But the quality difference between a PRS SE and a Japanese Fender, like, it's, you serious? And I'm not trying to pick on PRS here because, I mean, Epiphone's the same thing. Like, Epiphones cost more than Tokai's. That's a joke. That's a joke. But I think about what we get here in some instances and in some price points, and it brings me full circle as to why I began this YouTube video or the channel to begin with, and that was to sell Japanese guitars because the quality they're just better. They're just better. And then as you go up the scale here, and that's like the entry level for Japan. That's like when you first get started, you want to take a risk, but you don't want to potentially get burned with a brand that might not, you might not be able to sell, right? But once you get the courage to do that, you start looking at the really high end stuff. And it's nothing like against a lot of the brands here for the most part. But the value proposition, the quality proposition, everything, you miss nothing except the stupid name on the headstock. That's what you miss. That's it. The pros that you get outside of that, oh my God. It's unbelievable to me. And on Saturday, we have the Visor One Day Guitar Show. And I cover that every year. I make it a point because I love that brand. They're not a brand. They're a factory. But I truly believe like they make like the best sweet spot, like ultimate guitars across the board from the brands that they have. They build all the stuff for James Tyler Japan. They built so many different domestic brands lines for them. Everybody wants Divisor to build their guitars because they know they're going to get insanely good quality out of them. And I just, it's unfortunate because the way that this dumb social media thing works and just, the world and all that, right? promoting brands like that, it doesn't really do a whole ton. Like, I don't have any vested interest in that at all. And that's like where my real passion is. Not with all the guitars, but like for the majority of the new ones, I would say, yeah. Yeah. Like a perfect example, like what released this week. I realize I'm monologuing. I see some people in the chat, so it's working. I'll get there in a minute. The PRS company releases a updated version of the Fiore, right? It's an HH guitar, and I think it's $2,850 or $2,900 for the gloss model of it. Now, in that thread, somebody posted about like the Ernie balls, which I actually, this guy, I couldn't believe somebody actually typed this, especially on the gear page. He said that the Stingray, the Corey Wong, and the Cutlass were objectively better guitars in terms of just the material, in terms of everything that you get with them, the hardware, the pickups, and the build quality, which is a big part of it too. And I'm like, yeah, I would 100% agree with that. And I just don't. I do understand, but when it comes to just the brands, man, if it's not a Gibson, it's not a Fender, or you're not in that like PRS sphere because they have a lot of really devoted fans. It's so hard. Like quality doesn't always win out. Innovation doesn't always win out. Building the best guitar you can always win out because it's other little things that matter. And even at like a lower price point, the Reverends, I think the Reverends are awesome. And I'll say the same thing about the D'Angelicos because they kind of fall into like a similar prices, right? Although if I'm just objectively looking at things, which I don't do because I do YouTube. Some of the comments, I'll say anything for money, right? With the D'Angelicos, you get fully American stuff. You get a hard shell case. The guitars like actually feel good. And they're priced compared to what the Gibson equivalent is because that's really the only competition for them. Especially with the mini DCs. Over $1,000 less. And that's one of the more classic designs on it. Now, I get you might not like the neck carve on it, but like quality and value-wise, they're actually giving you something. And then the Riverins, it's not just a run-of-the-mill Telly or a Strat. Like, they take chances, they make interesting things, and they follow through with them. And that's why the people that play Reverends, like, it's not as many people that play Fenders. It's not as many people that are going to tell you PRS is the best brand in the history of the world and Paul made everything better. Or the people that are just like, I'm never going to sell my Gibson. I'll never play anything that's not a Gibson. The Reverend people, while they don't have the same numbers, they love that brand. They absolutely love that brand. And after playing a bunch of those guitars, like, I totally see why. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of all over the place, but I've had a lot of things going in my wild head. And I realized there was nobody in here. Now that there are, I'm gonna read some comments. Rafa, how you doing? Rex, have you seen that jet? I don't like it. I don't like it. The hardware sucks on it. It's expensive for what it is. And it's made in China for like what $1,000? No. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about the Japanese Fenders. I bet you in Japan a Japanese Fender costs less than that guitar. I don't know, like the cutting a corner stuff really bothers me. And it's little things. It's little things. And there's like stuff with some of the stuff we get from Fender that I'm like, what are you guys doing? You look at that new American Professional Classic series of guitars, that comes with a synthetic nut on it. Why doesn't that come with a bone nut? You're really going to tell me that the bone nut is the thing that puts the accountants over the edge here? It's a small part, but it makes a big difference. And then the Road Warrens, it was the same thing with those. Like, I love a lot about those guitars. I think they got a lot right, but it's just like it's little decisions. You gotta cut corners some places. I get it. They gotta make money, but at the end of the day, no, I would say no. I would say no. I'm not a big fan of that Gretsch. Hello, Aaron. How is the Belinda thing? I'm fighting with it right now. You just want me to be honest with you. I'm playing the Jag a lot more. Uh, Yesterday, I was filming because I'm filming for the Strymon pedal, and I initially thought I wanted to use my Mustang, which is really not a Belinda Mustang at all. It just kind of looks like one. She doesn't have the switching, and hers actually has a tele scale length on it. It's a 25 and a half. It's not much like a Mustang at all. But I was tempted to use that. I'm just not happy with the setup. And I think it's because the 14th fret is a little high on it. I have to go out and I have to mess with that. And there's a few slots in the nut that I can optimize because I've been spoiled recently. I've been playing a guitar that's like absolutely perfect with the setup, like absolutely perfect. So switching from that guitar that has the same nut width to the Mustang, I noticed the deficiencies in the Mustang setup, and the radiuses are pretty similar. So I know I could get the Mustang where I need it to go, but I have the time to do it. But overall, I think it still sounds great, and purple's awesome. Japanese Gretsch I had was fantastic, very much cheaper than American PRS. The Japanese Gretches, man, those got expensive. I don't even feel like those are. The difference is like with the Japanese Gretsch, you're still getting a really high quality instrument. They're more expensive for sure, but they're built to a very high standard, and they don't take the shortcuts with the hardware, with the pickups, with a hard shell case that some of the other brands do that are in a comparable price range. Oh my god, yeah, there are Japanese Gretches that are the same prices as the bolt-on PRSs. That's wild. Uh, you researched Divisor after watching the videos and going to check them out when you go over there? Yeah, no, I love Divisor. They make the best guitars in the world. I really believe so. I just wish I could. I wish I could like really get behind that brand more so and promote them to more people. You can't buy them in America as easily, and they just don't make enough guitars. And one thing that I admire this so much about this, and it's kind of going to spoil what I'm going to talk about because the show is on the 22nd, and it's just going to be all about Divisor and their different brands. I'm going to show all the new guitars that they have for the exhibit. They have a few new models that they're releasing, but in lieu of expanding, and this is what makes me love that man, Yasuo Momose. He passed away, but he was the founder of all of it. He started in 1977 with that brand with headway guitars. Actually, they make acoustic guitars. And then it transitioned into electric guitars. But they've had many offers to expand via finances. They have a lot of its incentive to expand production via finances. And they won't do it. They won't do it because they don't want to compromise the quality of the product. Now, I really admire that because look at here what happens when companies start off small. They get a great reputation for like incredible quality, incredible consistency. Eventually, some of them take the money, and then the products are nowhere near as good as they were 20 years ago. They sell more, but quality isn't as good. So you're compromising. I've always respected that. That was never his motivation. He wanted to put the best possible guitars in everybody's hands. Now, on the flip side of that, what they've done to kind of offset that and survive in the modern day and age is they have a lot of guitars that are made not in Japan now that get finished in Japan, called the Japan Tune-Up Series. And I think this year they're adding 2 or 3 more to that line. And the prices of those, if I'm just being honest with you, I don't think they're fantastic. I just don't. So it's a give and a take. And at the end of the day, like everybody's got to make money. Everyone's got to make money. Everyone's got to make a living. I don't know what this like crazy thing about, especially with musicians, like, oh, you're trying to make money. You're bad. Or this company's trying to make a profit. They're evil now. What the hell are you talking about? People got families. People got kids. Nobody wants to work for free. Period. It is what it is. Good evening, Miranda. There you go. You would absolutely love to go Ron Ashton's signature Reverend. Yeah, there's a lot of cool Reverends, man. There's gonna be a lot more cool ones. A lot more cool ones. I've been told for 2026. And think about this, dude. It's November 20th. 2026 is very close. It's very close. And we're gonna go through the whole rush of the Black Friday stuff, and everyone desperately trying to get rid of as much inventory as they can because all the new stuff is going to show up in January. They can only hold so much. Pro Audio start. So was Sweetwater for a little bit. I saw. That's an absolute no brainer. It's an absolute no brainer. Those guitars are way too good to sell for $1,000. Schecter and Reverend both started as pickup builders and parts manufacturers. Although both brands very consistent in their product. Yeah, and Schecter, Schecter is a brand that is very fascinating to me because a lot of people in the West don't realize their guitars that are made exclusively for Japan. They have some insanely nice guitars that will never see the light of day here. And if you even like mention them here, they don't like that because they only want you to pay attention to the stuff that's available here in the U.S. But I've had some of those Schecter Japans that are fantastic, and they make some body styles and shapes that like you'd never associate with that brand. But they're great. They're great. What guitar model do you find the most versatile? The Telecaster. That's an easy one. I think if you're ever trying to track, and by track I mean record, the safest play you can ever make is to just bring a Tele with you. Like if you don't even if you don't know what the genre is, like if you get called in for something, just bring a Telecaster. You'll be able to make it work. You'll be able to make it work. I know like people like to argue on behalf of the Super Strat. And some people argue for like a custom 24 or a do-it-all guitar that has 50 coil splits, push-pulls, boosts, out of phase, in phase. All that stuff's kind of cool. I think more in a gigging complex, guitars with like that amount of electronics in them, I can understand that more. But for recording, I don't think anything beats Telecaster. I just don't. That would be my pick. But I don't think a Tele's my favorite guitar anymore. We go through phases of that stuff. I still think it's the best, but I don't think it's my favorite. Interesting. Is the Paranormal Telecaster one of their best ideas? I don't know if I would say that. I think it's one of the best ideas we have here. For sure. It's at least something different. And, I was just talking about all these other brands and some of the Japanese ones like Schecter Japan. And then I was talking about D'Angelico. I was talking about Reverend. And people not being as accepting of new ideas from brands like them. But with Fender, they are. And they're more likely to because it's still going to stay Fender on the headstock. And you could kind of say the same thing about the here. Hold on, let me just hang this up real quick. With Fender, they kind of drive me nuts because if there's one brand that could really get away with being more courageous with designs, it's them. They could do it. And when you look at both of the Parallel Universe collections, I think that's what they call them. The original one's from 2018, and then they got reissued, I think, a year or two after that. They had some really cool guitars in there, like some really, really, really cool guitars that are really hard to find at reasonable prices for some of the models. Now, not all of them were a hit. Like the combination of the Strat and the Jaguar, that wasn't a hit. Even the combination of the Tele that had the Jazzmaster vibrato and then the Jazzmaster Pure Vintage 65 pickups in it, that one didn't do outstanding. But there were some of them, like the Troublemaker Telly. Look up, the Troublemaker Telly is so beloved they knew that they could put it into the Squire line, and long before they put it into the Squire line, we were doing a live stream just like this, and I had one of the Japanese ones. It was before they announced the second run of the Troublemaker Tellys. I said, you got to make this guitar into a production model. You're leaving money on the table. People are going to buy this. It's obvious. It's such a classy looking guitar. It's got the capital pick guard on it. It feels like kind of a Fender need without looking, a little off. And that's one thing about Telecaster Customs, not the double bound ones, Telecaster Customs that have humbuckers on them. And the deluxe ones have two humbuckers. But those ones always look just like, they just look a little bit off because of the pickguard. Whereas when you look at the Troublemakers, it's way cleaner. So guitars like that existing now, I think is great. I think it's great, but it kind of leaves a customer in a situation where if they really like that guitar, but one day they're like, I want like, perhaps a slightly nicer version of it. There's nowhere for them to go with it. You're stuck with that one. And the offset Telecaster kind of fits into the same category with that. Because there was a while they made an American Standard offset Telecaster, and that one had 2016, and it had two Tele single coils. So that one wasn't that wild. About a year or two after that, Fender Japan made one that had a P90 in the neck, and some of those had Carina bodies, which is pretty gnarly. And there have been other versions of the offset Telecaster. They had one that had a humbucker or a wide range humbucker style in the neck, and then the Tele in the bridge. And now the most current one, the one that's for sale right now, is the offset one with the Jazzmaster pickup in the neck and the Tele in the bridge. And obviously, if none of those previous ones had sold, they wouldn't keep making them. And I feel like I feel like as a company from their position, they just feel like it's the sweet spot, and they like it. Obviously, they move enough of them to justify keeping making them and then updating the models. I just wish that they would do a little bit more with other versions of them that are available. Tele or 335? James answers why I prefer the Tele right below you. Tele cuts way easier in a mix than a 335, and it just sits into more genres easier. It just does. I love the 335. Don't get me wrong. It would be in my top 5 for sure. But to a Tele? No. Tele all day. Who would have thought one of the first ever electric guitars made is such a powerhouse in the studio? It's funny because I think it's just the best guitar ever made, period. And what are the odds of that when you think about any industry? When Henry Ford made his first car, do we look back on that and say that was the ultimate design? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the Tele really is the perfect instrument. It's simple. It's reliable. It's modular. So if you have a functional problem, it's easy to repair. They sound insanely good. They're light unless you buy one from like 1968 till around 1980. Some of those got really heavy in that era. And they're just absolute workhouse. It's a guitarist guitar. It's a Telecaster. They look kind of boring compared to some of the other stuff, but there's a reason why so many people are going to tell you that it's the best guitar. I'm waiting on the paranormal Tele you bought yesterday. You saw Jim's video and grab one. Oh, that's great. I hope you enjoy it, man. I hope you enjoy it. Nah. I was trying to think of other colors that would be cool in. I kind of just like the charcoal frost. It kind of works because, as you were saying in the thing, the charcoal frost, at least, because it's such a dark color, kind of blends in with the fingerboard a little bit. And the blocks help it too. Okay, offsets are the most comfortable to you. Most of your playing is sitting down. You do love the sounds from a good Telecaster. Combine the two. And you kind of get a mismatch. You kind of get a mismatch. There's pros and cons to it. Because if I'm going to play an offset, I would prefer to have a vibrato on it. That's just me. I like the paranormal one, but it's not like it's not a guitar that if I want to play that sort of body style, I would pick over a Jaguar or a Jazzmaster or the Mustang because I just love the offset vibrato so much. But yeah, it's a give and a take because then you want to put a telly bridge on it. It's not going to go so well for you. It's a little bit different. And a Bigsby, you could install a Bigsby. I know Bradford used to be in here a lot. He put a Bigsby on his paranormal offset, and he loves it. But it's like adding a pound. And I don't like the Bigsby nearly as much as the offset vibrato to justify doing that. Oh, Greg, you and your unicorn fairy tale stories. Get out of here. Did they ever make a semi-hollow offset? D'Angelico make one. Semi-hollow offset. Fender? They made one, a pink and a black. It had the offset vibrato on it. I forget the name of the guitar. But shell pink maple fingerboard and a black one with a maple fingerboard that had Jazzmaster pickups and was semi-hollow. And there's one guy that plays one. I think he's from Korea. He does videos sometimes for Music Force. They're a big store out there. They don't do any talking. They just play because that should be what sells people on instruments, right? But yeah, those were really cool. I can think of they did those. The only other ones that come to mind are not made by Fender. But most have done it multiple times. You get a thin line Jag, thin line Jazzmaster from them, or even a thin line Mustang. They've made all three at multiple different points. So they're out there. Can be done. And Psych-to-Rhythm. Psych-to-Rhythm is another brand that has done it, but theirs are they kind of got less of an offset feel and more of a telly feel because there's no top contour for your forearm. So it's just a little different if you're used to Jazzmasters to go to a guitar that doesn't have the contour. You get used to it, but it just feels a little different. Oh no. The neck pickup in the middle position don't work? Oh, that's wonderful. That's an American guitar too. Yeah. Like I keep staring at the Japanese guitars. I just keep staring at the Japanese guitars. I really wish that they would at least do some stuff from Japan here. Even if it was super limited. Just give people the option. But I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, Solder should fix that pretty quick though. Offset, I have no trouble. Onset, I am troubling. I miss your jokes. Jim, which stock pickups are your all-time favorite? Stock. On a Telecaster or in general? Because that answer is going to vary very widely depending on if you're just talking overall or a specific model. The best pickups I've heard in a new guitar that weren't just like Duncans or Lawlers or what have you were on that Yamaha. I stand by that. Those Rupert Neve pickups in the Pacifica Professional, those were outstanding pickups. Those are outstanding. They had a crazy clarity to them. It was crazy. They felt right, but they weren't. They didn't feel like they were just trying to outright copy a Strat pickup. You know what I mean? Like they definitely put their own twist on them. They're called the Reflect Tones. They're great. They are absolutely killer pickups. But that's one style of guitar. Like if you were to ask me if I like those better than the pickups that come in the Sir, yeah. Oh yeah. Like those better than pickups that come in the American Ultras? Oh yeah. But are they like the best pickups? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I actually really like the stock pickups, the P90s that Reverb make. I think those are freaking killer. Because P90s have that problem where they get a little bit noisy and you can start to get the mud with the neck pickup when you start getting into that like chewy gain. But those ones, it does the chewy gain, but when you back off of them, they clean up like incredibly well. And that's not common with stock P90s, in my experience. So, yeah. In general, that's tough. I'd be happy with just a proper uh, set of Fender pickups for the appropriate model that are appropriately voiced for the year that they're actually doing it and not just overhyped for the sake of doing it. Like the American Vintage 64 Telly, I thought had perfect stock pickups for a Telly. The American Vintage 65 Jaguar had perfect stock pickups for a Jag. The American Vintage 65 Strat, I think those are perfect for a vintage Strat. All those are guitars that I wouldn't think to change the pickups on because they're just like, oh, these are fantastic. These are what you want. And then with Gibson, I really like the custom buckers on the custom shop R9s. Those sound great. Good pickups. Reverend P90s are remarkably clear. They're ceramic, I believe. Yeah. I don't know what they do, right? See, I'm not a big guts person of the pickups. But I know general stuff, but I'm not enough to know how major some of the little decisions make on those. And I you'll see soon, but I've recently had to deep dive on reversing polarity in a pickup the correct way, which is you actually take apart the humbucker and you take the actual magnet physically out, and then you invert it, you flip it, and that scared me a little bit watching that. So I was like, I'm gonna mess something up. But the pickup that I need to repair, that they already did that, so it's not in phase as is. It doesn't sound bad. The two out of phase thing. So I'm gonna make a fun video about that. Just out of phase tones because like with the Mustang, you get the out of phase tone. That's like your tone though. But on a guitar like a Les Paul or a 335 or any Gibson style guitar that has the four knobs where you have independent volume controls, when you have them out of phase, the amount of variance that you can get with the out of phase tones when you roll off one of the volumes it's huge. It's huge. It's really cool. And you just can't get that with a Fender because you got one master volume. You need to have independent volume controls to be able to pull it off. But I thought it would be kind of like a fun, like, oh no, it's not just like a product thing. It's like, oh, check out these sounds. This is why they're different. They're the same, but they're different. Reeve Gabriel's Space Hawk is slightly offset semi-hollow. There you go. That's funny. The Vito is kind of the Vito is, for all intents and purposes, semi-hollow without the F-hole because it's completely hollowed out on the bass side of the instrument from like the top all the way across, which kind of sucks. Well, no, it doesn't suck, but it kind of sucks that it doesn't have the F-hole. I think it would look cool with the F-hole. You should have gotten the Vintera. That's the Mustang I tell everyone to buy. I say if you want to buy the best Mustang you can get, and you wanted to have a vibrato on it, that's the new one to get. But it's tough because those other ones were going out of production. Can't win. You had done that to a set of pickups accidentally. It's pretty awesome. Your tech had to put it together. Peter Green, Gary Moore tones. I think that with Gary Moore tones and Peter Green tones, there is so much more you can do than just blues with those. That's part of the reason I want to make that video. I kind of want to explore that. You can get so many funky sounds, especially with gain, and I like that. I like that. And after playing with it more, when I go to the Mustang, where I can play the two single coils, I'm like, I feel very limited. Like, yeah, I get my bouncy sounds. I get my bouncy sounds, and they're cool. But that's it. That's it. It's a one-trick pony. Okay, let me see this. Hold on, I think I see some stuff that's gonna get me gonna get you in trouble. You want to publicly say this? What do you want to publicly say? Am I about to get scorned? I've already been scorned enough or scolded enough today by viewers. I woke up to a hilarious comment. This is so negative. Okay. Your Harley Benton had a grounding issue. They offered a partial refund, but I'm having. Oh, they will always start with offering you like 30 or $50 off of the guitar because it costs them exponentially more than that to have it shipped back. That's one of the problems with ordering from them. If it's You're gonna have your tech look at it. If it's bad, you're just refunding the guitar. You were right. Yeah, I don't know. For a long time, I demoed a lot of the budget brand stuff. You know, the off-brand budget brand stuff. And say what you will about Fender, and we got a guy in here that's got problems with Fender. But if you have a problem with them, it's very easy to fix because they're here. You have a problem with Harley Benton, have fun with that. Have fun with that. So, yeah, just sucks. Sorry to hear that, though. The out-of-phase sound is very cool, and it gives you one more thing in your tool belt. Yeah, I think they're cool. Gibson's required you to use the knobs. You never did in your younger days. I never did either. I hated it. Because if I was going to play a Gibson guitar, I was only going to play it for one reason. I never wanted to play one clean. I thought that was stupid. And I was never a big blues guy. So the whole appeal of a Les Paul to me was just like Mesa Boogie sort of gain, or like Soldano or Orange kind of gain, just like over the top stuff that you would hear on like punk rock records. That's what I liked. Just power chords. Power chords, power chords, power chords. And the simplest lead melodies you could ever hear in your entire life, but they were good because they got caught in your head, and that's the meaning of music. A good song or a good hook is one that you can't stop humming, not one where you watch it and you say, that guy is such a great technical player, because guess what? That you're focusing on the wrong thing. It's not memorable for the right reasons. Oh, man. But no, you mess with Gibsons, especially both pickups together, and you start really screwing with the tone controls. Because everyone just goes right to the volumes. But the tone controls make a huge difference. You can create such a mellow sound. Or you can like bring the bridge pick or the neck pickup a little bit more to life, in a way, in a pronounced way. If you mess with the tone knobs correctly on one of those in the middle position. But they're great. You're very much thinking of getting a Squier Jaguar. I don't think they're bad, but my problem is, you said you had grounding issues. You might have more grounding issues. And if you're familiar with offsets, I'd say it's no big deal. Like, I can open up one of those because I've just worked on hundreds of Jaguars. It'd be easy for me to spot, but there are some techs like they don't know that circuit at all, and there's a lot to it comparatively to like a Tele or a Les Paul or a Strat. There's just more happening. So there's more places you have to know where to look for problems. So if you do have a problem, it's a little bit more difficult to fix. comparatively. And out of all the offsets, that's the one that's the most annoying too, because you got these little cavities that you gotta wire in and wire out of, and you don't have a lot of lead to do it. So, not lead on the actual the wires, but you don't have a lot of space, lead way I should say, through the actual routes of the body, especially going into the bridge control cavity, and then the rhythm selector, the rhythm switch. Tolman slipped up when naming their house brand. It was supposed to be Harley Beaten. He knows I love the dad jokes, man. He knows I love the dad jokes. Just buy a used Japanese instead of that new Squire. Well, here's the thing with the new Squire. I'm not so quick to say something like that because there is a significant price difference there. There just is. And the problem is, it comes back to the same horse that I beat all the time here. You don't have alternatives from Fender here. It goes right from the classic vibe, which you can grab for under like $500. And a lot of the time, let's be honest here, you can get it for under $400. Or you're jumping all the way up to the Vintera 2. And you got to love the way that guitar looks. But if you don't like that, you know where you have to jump up next? The custom shop. Those are your 3 steps for a Fender Jaguar. That's it. Those are your 3 steps. So, I suppose you could argue the American Classic Professional could be modified to be turned into a proper Jaguar circuit. And that's more than I could say about the Johnny Mars. So I'll give them credit with that. But at the end of the day, still, you got to buy all that stuff. It's going to add in a few $100 more. And then you got to know how to install it and wire it. And what did I just say about the wiring? And you're going to be doing that from scratch because you got to remove pretty much everything and redo it. That's going to cost you about $2,000. At that point, yeah, just buy a Japanese one. That's wild. Oh. It makes your blood boil about his Mustang being so broken. They should have caught that issue from the factory. Yeah, I mean, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And it's not just Fender. Because I had that PRS. The neck pickup wasn't connected at all. And this is like this. This is sad. This is how you know things are just weird, right? When I hear about like a Fender problem like that, I'm just like, it is what it is. It's Fender. They make so many guitars. It is, I almost give them a pass because I'm kind of used to it with some of their guitars. Well, like with PRS, like I haven't been used to that, and the last 3 have all had problems with the electronics. So it's just, it's sad. And again, full circle to the beginning of the stream. I don't have these problems with Japanese guitars. They get them right. So what Jim needs to do is find a Japanese brand that actually sells here in America. That's what Jimbo needs to do. That I like. I'm not much of a shredder guy. But no, it's unfortunate. Like, I don't know. And just the amount of crap we just accept in this country, like with problems like that, I don't like it. I don't like it. People are just like, it is what it is. It's a simple fix. And even what I was just saying there, it's just like, it's fine. I'm assuming it's going to have at least a few problems. Why should it have any problems with the amount of money they want for these guitars? Like a guitar that's like $2,000 should be absolutely perfect. When I got my American Vintage 2 66 Jazzmaster, oh my God, that was 2 years ago at this point. That one had the rhythm circuit that wasn't functional at all. And that's something that had the people that I purchased it from checked it for even 2 seconds. You would have known immediately that it didn't work. You wouldn't have never shipped it. So much for an inspection. Or Fender, really, they should have caught it at the source. But I mean, that passes through two different sets of hands before it gets to me. And then I'm able to figure out immediately, this isn't working. Is that something a customer should have to deal with on a guitar that now retails for $2,720? I personally don't believe so. No. But you have to remember too, like, there is always going to be a minority of problems that are going to happen regardless of what's being produced, period. Anything handmade or with some element of people putting in, the work, and there's always going to be some error, some variance. I'm not excusing it. I'm definitely not excusing it, but it's inevitable because people do make mistakes. Okay. You guys are talking about a replacement for that. Oh, you got it from Sweetwater. Well, that story I just told. Make of that what you will. Tone and volume knobs on Gibson can be like a pedal board. I recently saw the great. I was like, I have a great German guitarist. The great German guitarist, Michael Schenker. In fact, yes, he can shred, but 90% of the time he played melodies, writing the controls. Yes. Less is more. Less is more. Believe it or not, I can play some lead guitar. I don't like doing it out of context in demos. I think it's dumb. Because you never hear somebody playing lead in isolation like that. You just don't. It's just weird. You're going to throw in like a full song, like when Super Danger Studios makes a demo video and he's covering a song, and then he's singing the chorus and it goes out of the chorus, and then it shows him playing like a crazy solo or whatever it is, or just an easy solo, whatever it is, just a solo, regardless of difficulty. It's like, oh, okay, you're showing the solo tones there in the context. It makes sense. But just like isolated guitar solos, I just, it's weird to me. It's weird to me. So I don't do it. I don't do it. You don't need to do it. You'll probably end up upgrading the Squire, $200 or $300 worth of electronics. You're going to upgrade a lot more than that. Unless you're just happy with, like, the thing that I would give advice to people that want to play a Squire offset guitar, make sure you love the guitar as is first. Otherwise, you are going to put in enough money to have just bought a better guitar to begin with. Vibratos are not cheap. Good ones, they're not cheap. And then, the bridge is okay on that guitar. All the electronics, I wouldn't want to have to pay to do all that. And then remember, you got to do all the work yourself. And at the end of the day, nobody's going to want to give you anywhere near with that guitar what you put into that guitar, because it's still just a modified $379 instrument. But if you go to Reverb, there will be people that believe that there's Squires that's been modified as worth $1,200 on a regular basis. You'll find that all the time with Jags and Jazzmasters. Many customers have electronics for PRS imports. This was not an import. This was an American-made PRS CE24. This is American-made. Not, again, guitars that fall between $2,000 and $3,000 that are made in America. Should we really be having these problems? Should we really be having these problems? I don't think so. Question about Jaguars. I saw an online Guitar Center Jag they have in Daphne Blue. Has anyone bought from Guitar Center? I'll tell you this. This is a general advice thing here. If you're not certain about any instrument and you want to try one out, buy it from Guitar Center used if you have a Guitar Center close to you, because their return policy is fantastic on used gear. It's fantastic. So you can get the guitar, you can play it, you can give it a shot, not feel bad about, getting a new one, and then, you return it. Just pick up a used one, give it a go. If you don't like it, drive back to the store, drop it off, and you get all your money back. The end. It's that simple. That would be what I would do. Just try that. See if it works for you. 2,000 is what you played for your Barracuda. What does that translate to nowadays? $2,000. That's when like Curious Jim gets started here. Oh no, my keyboard died. This always happens. If you don't use it for like 15 minutes, it dies. $2,000 adjusted for inflation, 1978. $2,000 in 1978 is equivalent to approximately, you ready for this? $9,937.91 in 2025. That doesn't sound right. This means that the purchasing power of $2,000 in 1978 is comparable to nearly $10,000 in 2025, reflecting a cumulative price increase of about 396.9% over the 47-year period. I say you still did well. That's funny. The irony is you live like 2 hours away from Sweetwater, but no car and nobody will take me. Yeah, it's okay. You'll live. You don't need to go. You don't need to go down the Sweetwater slide. It would be fun, though. Okay. American economics defies gravity. What goes up must come down, not. Oh, man. Oh, I'm good with the yen. I'm good with the yen. I can ballpark it, but the only thing is it fluctuates daily because you're talking about relative currencies and their valuations within each other. That stuff always gonna vary a little bit, but for the most part, I know how a price in yen is gonna look in American dollars, even with the shipping included on it. Although I haven't received my my bill. I haven't received my bill yet. My tariff bill. I don't know what it is. I'm scared to look. It's probably in my mailbox right now. Wonder how bad could it be, right? To get your Mustang fixed. Oh, I'm kind of confused because you guys have similar colors in your profile picture things. So I apologize for that. That's my bad. However, I gotta tell you guys what. I'm happy I kind of avoided a topic that was bothering me today. But yeah, so Saturday is a huge day. I get to pick up my kid from the airport. That's the longest I've ever gone without having her around, and it's been really harder than I thought it was gonna be. The first few days, it's like nice peace and quiet, but then the house, the less said the better. But it's been really really tough not having her around, so we get to see her. I am gonna do a stream for the Divisor show. I don't know what time I'm gonna do it. It all depends on what time the website goes live. I have to double check it for their one day guitar show on Saturday. Tomorrow there will be something, and it's going to depend on how much time I have to film. And the sooner that I get to it, the more likely it could be the Strymon. If I can't do the Strymon, if I can't get it to a place where I'm happy with it, because I could rush and get it done, but if I can't get it to a place where I'm happy with it, then I have something else that's another talking head video that's already in the can that I can have for tomorrow. And we'll go from there. But that's pretty much it. Your tariff was 20% from Tallman on a pedal from MXR. Well, it's different though. This is why things are different, because the Japanese guitar was made in Japan. The MXR, that was not made in Germany. I know that. So I'm just interested to see how it's going to break down. I won't know until I get the bill. But yeah, no, I did put that guitar for sale. That Jaguar. That Jaguar is for sale. The American Vintage 63 Telecaster in surf green. Can't sell it. Not for $1,400 all in. Can't sell that. What a wild market. And then I still have the The creamsicle, the orange Nitro Jazzmaster that I'm trying to get rid of. And there will be probably 2 or 3 other guitars that go up for sale too. Just because. It's a cleanse. It's a cleanse. But thank you all for hanging out today. I got to get out of here. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.